I want to be kind. I want everybody to be kind.
Today on First Financial Biz Beat, even while struggling through the pandemic, some local restaurants are showing that the people of Cincinnati come before profits. We take in the view from one of the Tri-State's newest housing destinations.
And if the state decides that they're going to order me, then so be it.
And a local auditor is taking on the state. The outcome could affect how much you pay in taxes. First Financial Biz Beat starts right now. Good afternoon and welcome to First Financial Biz Beat, presented by the Business Courier. I'm Kyla Woods. Timing, of course, is everything, and sometimes things happen at a moment that's both unexpected and precisely the right time. The partnership that will transform the Deaconess site in Clifton is a prime example. The front page centerpiece this week is a $420 million bet on Cincinnati. The district in Clifton Heights is a monster project that will completely transform the 5-acre property right across the street from UC. Courier reporter Tom Demaropoulos breaks it all down with editor Rob Dahmeyer.
Tom, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Rob. Happy to be here.
So let's talk about the district. How did this project come together? It's kind of an interesting backstory.
Yeah, Rob, so this is a project that Trinitas has been working on since at least 2017 when they acquired the old Deaconess Hospital site. And since then, they had been working to find a master development partner to help them with this project. And, for one reason or another, they met with a couple of the nation's top, mixed use developers. Things didn't work out. So Trinitas had decided it was going to go it alone. And then earlier this year, kind of right before the pandemic hit, they had started working with Cushman and Wakefield to find different developers for each portion of the project. And that's how they got connected with Crawford Hoying. Now, on the other side, Crawford Hoying had been looking to enter the Cincinnati market for about a decade. They had been looking to find something of scale, something that they could really sink their teeth into and make Cincinnati a place that they were an active market in. And again, for the same reasons, they just never found the right fit for a project until they came to the district.
Well, let's talk about scale. This is a massive project. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what it entails. How big is this area we're talking about, and specifically remind us exactly where this is.
Yeah, so this is along Straight Street, just west of UC's Uptown campus, and it is about 5 acres of land in total when you include both sides of the street. And this is, Rob, this is a massive project. We're talking about another 850 student beds, up to 400 residential units, about 30,000 square feet of commercial space, 600 parking spaces, and about 150-room hotel. And in addition to that, some senior housing, so up to about 170 units of senior housing. All together, we're looking at an investment of about $420 million, which ranks this as probably the second largest private investment going in the greater Cincinnati region.
After Children's Tower, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Children's Hospital. So what need is this filling? I mean, you talked about 800 more beds for students, or 800 more living spaces for students, and the hotel and all the other parts of this mixed-use development. What need are the developers trying to fill here?
Yeah, there's a couple of different needs that they're hitting on here, and one is obviously student housing. The university continues to grow. There continues to be a need for more student housing space, but also this is about bringing economic vitality to Clifton Heights. So you're going to have all these new residences that are going to bring a lot of residents with disposable income. So you're going to have an influx of up to 3,200 residents to this part of the city. So that's customers for bars, restaurants, grocery stores, all of that coming to the heart of this neighborhood. And then also you'll have some hotel rooms. A hotel is planned for the site. So you'll have a place to stay if you're going in to visit, a student. If you have one of your children is at UC, you've got a place to come and visit. You can stay right next to campus. And then the commercial space is expected to really activate the street level. So that's the thought there, is that these will be, obviously they'll cater to a mix of uses and needs. You'll want to hit the daytime student population, but you also want to hit the nighttime resident population. So a lot of activity that will be brought to this part of Clifton Heights.
Yeah, I can't think of another project I mean, this is really right in the middle of UC. I mean, it's just, if you know anything about the campus, and you know, Tom explained where this is. I mean, it's right there, and it's going to really transform that area. It's hard to overstate, I think, how big of a deal this is going to be. And last question for you is this, though: what timing-wise, what's happening right now? What is happening next on this project?
Yeah, so now that Trinitas and Crawford Hoying have their joint venture, they are working with the city of Cincinnati for a development agreement, and they're going to be working on that for the next 3 to 6 months. And once they kind of work through the process of getting that together, they'll be working on infrastructure and making sure that this project can kind of get started in 2021, which is going to be great because their thinking is, you know, timing wise, they'll be finishing this project right as we should be coming out of this recession and the pandemic.
Right. Yes, I was just going to say that it seems like the timing couldn't be better, assuming that you know, we come out of the COVID-19, which, you know, everybody that I've heard is talking about that kind of time frame. So it's a fantastic story. Please check it out in the Courier. Tom, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rob.
And back to you.
Thank you, Rob and Tom. Well, great views are the big draw of Mount Adams' newest living destination. The first tenants are moving into Adams Edge, which is on pretty much the last piece of undeveloped land in that neighborhood off Wareham Drive. The luxury apartments offer 3 different levels of finishes: a fitness center, laundry lockers, and gated parking. Oh, and some of the best views the city has to offer.
We have an amenity deck that has fabulous city views. We face west, so you get a lot of great sunset views, and we also have a club room. So if it's too chilly outside, even with the fire pit, you can always come inside to the club room and entertain your friends there.
Rent at Adams Edge ranges from $1,500 to $2,800 a month. Some county auditors in Ohio are fighting the Ohio Department of Taxation over home values. Butler County Auditor Roger Reynolds says the average home value there has gone up 14%. But when he submitted numbers to the state, he was told it should be 20%. That's great if you want to sell your home, but if you're staying, an inflated home value could hurt your bottom line.
If the state decides that they're going to order me, then so be it. I have an appeal process, and I will fight it as hard as I can.
The Department of Taxation says the Ohio Constitution requires real property to be valued at its true value in money for the purpose of taxation. Deviating from that would require changes to the law. It went on to say that no information has been offered to demonstrate that the pandemic has affected housing values. The Preble County Auditor ran into the same issue. She backed off when told her county's school funding could be in jeopardy if she didn't meet that mandate. Reynolds says he's not backing down, and he's getting support from county commissioners. Hundreds of new jobs are coming to Clermont County. That's where Nestle's Purina pet care plans are to build a new factory there. It's a $550 million investment for the factory in Williamsburg Township, and they estimate 300 positions will become available once that facility is complete. Procter & Gamble gets approval from the Environmental Protection Agency for its spray that fights COVID. P&G first released its new Microban 24-hour sanitizing spray back in February before the outbreak was deemed a pandemic. But for a product to officially claim that it can kill a specific virus, the EPA must test and approve it. P&G says third-party testing shows it kills the virus in 60 seconds. A local wine bar shut down for a couple of days because of some unruly customers. The group made a reservation last weekend at Oakley Wines, but some people in that group refused to wear masks, and when they wouldn't comply, the owner asked them to leave.
They threatened to spit on things, they broke a glass. I do believe the glass was an accident, but they, laughed, and some other crude remarks and threats that were really surprising. We could lose our liquor license, we could get fined, and we have a lot to lose, really, everything, our whole business.
The bar closed on Sunday to give employees time to recover from the troubling incident and to do some extra cleaning. They reopened on Tuesday. Well, people have stepped up big time to support their favorite restaurants during this pandemic, and now some of those places are returning the favor. Neither Zorba's in Westwood or Kung Food in Covington has let a single employee go. Kung Food used its PPE loan to pay its employees, and now the owner of Zorba's is telling anyone who needs food or any other necessities to send him a message.
Early this year, I was very sick. I was at the hospital for 20 days, and a lot of people reached to me and helped me a lot. So I want to give back to everybody.
When we were closed, one of our bartenders was outside and the lady stopped to give her $100 just because she knew she liked it here. Like things like that. And you're like, wow, we have really great customers. We're really lucky.
Such a great story there. Zorba's does offer indoor dining, but it's limited because of the size of restaurant, and Kung Food won't reopen indoor dining until they feel like it's safe to do so. Both say takeout has been pretty good for them. The ever popular Asian Food Fest was canceled this year, but that opened the door for the first ever Asian Food Week. It kicks off Monday, and for $20, you can get a 3-course meal at any of the 36 restaurants involved. The Asian American Cultural Association of Cincinnati is behind this, and they're trying to help restaurants survive the pandemic.
What I heard was that a lot of businesses were struggling, of course, right, with the low level of customer engagements, and then also needing to let go of their staff members, etc. From our side, we wanted to continue our tradition, so we didn't want to lose that drumbeat.
And there's also a website, asianatty.com, which serves as a one-stop guide to Asian food across the Queen City. Asian Food Week runs through next Sunday. Up next on First Financial Biz Beat, why you'll never have to pay to ride the streetcar again. The city of Cincinnati is facing a federal lawsuit over its tax abatement program. The class action suit alleging that the program is racially discriminatory. Now council member Jeff Pastor is calling for changes. Pastor says tax abatements are making segregation in Cincinnati worse, and he wants to come up with a way to make those tax breaks more equitable.
We need to change policies, and what we found is that, you know, the patterns of segregation still exist today. West End is segregated, Lower Price Hill and other areas are segregated by race and by class.
A think tank analyzed 10 years worth of tax abatement data and found tax breaks are more likely to be awarded in white neighborhoods. Pastor says another special meeting will be held soon. You'll never have to pay to ride the streetcar again. It's been that way for the last couple months, and this week City Council passed an ordinance making that permanent. The cars did run without passengers for a while, and Council argued that the city would actually lose money by continuing to charge people because they wouldn't be able to cover the cost to collect the fares. When the Better Business Bureau launched the Torch Awards, the first ceremony almost didn't happen because of 9/11. So a pandemic wasn't going to stop them either. Josiel Ehrlich, CEO and president of the Better Business Bureau, talked about the 20th edition of the ceremony with Courier publisher Jamie Smith.
Thank you, Kyla. Josiel, thanks for being on today. We really appreciate it. You know, Josiel, the BBB devotes a lot of time and energy on ethics in the business place. Can you tell us how the Torch Awards play into that?
Jamie, the Torch Awards is the only ethics awards program for businesses and nonprofits in our region. And BBB is really honored to be able to recognize businesses that have set themselves apart for their commitment to ethics. These organizations that we recognize have intentionally incorporated ethics into every aspect of their business, from their relationships with their staff, with their vendors, with their customers, with their clients, and with their community. They try to make ethics at the very core of every decision that they have to make as business people. Now,
you know, I always love going to the awards and hearing their stories. You know, we know that 2020 is the year of pivots. Can you tell me how the Torch is going to pivot in 2020?
Wow. Well, this is our 20th anniversary. And a little history here. We started this in 2001, and our event was to be held right after 9/11. And we debated whether or not we should have this. But in the end, we decided that the community needed a reason to celebrate. And there's nothing better to celebrate than ethical business. So now we are living in the midst of a pandemic, and we are facing the same decision. We decided to move ahead, but as with most events these days, it will be virtual. But Cincinnati and our region needs a reason to celebrate, and we're going to celebrate our Torch Award winners. We have a week-long celebration over social media, And it will culminate on Friday, November 13th at noon with live streaming of the awards ceremony on Facebook and YouTube. And we are really excited to be able to recognize this class. It is our 20th class, our 20th anniversary. Who would have thought it would be this way, but it will be a party nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just so obviously we at the Business Courier have a lot of awards programs and have had to take that same route. It's not a route that we really wanted to take, but as you said, it's so important that organizations like yours and mine continue to celebrate the success that we're having. You know, there's a lot of negative out there in the world, and I feel like it's our job to share the happiness and the success and to celebrate some of these milestones. So thank you for continuing to carry this on. And we want to help, just for our viewers' sake, starting probably the week after the 13th, we will start to have one of the winners on each week and talk about what their successes are. So in addition to the supplement that will come out, this is our way of telling these stories and getting it out in the business marketplace and showing them how ethical Cincinnati can be. So I want to thank you for not only having the Torch Awards, but everything you do in the Cincinnati marketplace to build ethics and trust in all that we do in business. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Jamie, for being our partner all these years.
All right. Have a great day. Kyla, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Well, still to come on First Financial Biz Beat, the rise of mini-monies.
You can still be something that's a step above the courthouse, but also not a full-scale wedding.
Hosting hundreds of guests at a wedding isn't a reality for most of us right now. Enter the mini-moni.
It's just more intimate. It's fewer guests, so we're holding them for 25 guests or lower.
So instead of postponing, many couples are instead downsizing. It's not only helping to get rid of the stress of replanning, but it helps keep some event centers in business.
People are shy about putting deposits down on wedding venues with not knowing what's going to go on next year. So again, that leaves us with open dates. So being able to fill them with these smaller mini-monies is great for us.
It just feels like a better way to still get married, still have some positivity, but feel safer. But it doesn't feel like I'm sacrificing.
And of course, this holiday season won't look like any we've seen in a very long time. But that doesn't mean it can't taste like the holidays. And one way we're all finding comfort these days, I know I am, is in food. And if you want to take your holiday meals to the next level, you want to add sugar innovations to the menu. And joining us now is Ora Daniels, candy apple connoisseur and owner of Sugar Innovations. Thanks for being with us, Ora.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about these creative candy apple desserts that you make and why you decided to go with candy apples.
I actually did a charity event 10 years ago now, and we had to put something out for the donors, and I made 70 or 80 of these things. And people were impressed with it so much that I said, maybe this might be something I need to explore. Yeah. And then I started playing around with it, and it's kind of taken off and it's kind of a mind of its own now.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the designs that you create, they are so eclectic and innovative. When we talk about, like, we have some with Ciroc bottles. I think we're going to see those. We're seeing on the screen now, Minnie Mouse. You have some really, really beautiful and exquisite designs. So in addition to candy apples, I know you also do some other dessert trays and gourmet treats. Tell us about those as well.
So I do apple nachos. Those are a big hit. I usually do those at festivals and any kind of markets. I do pretzels and chocolate covered Oreos, anything that can be dipped in chocolate. You don't want me to bake, that would not be good. But anything that can be dipped in chocolate, I can make it look good.
Yeah, and these treats look so amazing. We see those right now. Tell us about some of the fall things. These are fall themed apples. Tell us about those.
Yes, so for fall, I focused on the original apple nacho, which is more of a caramel based. Usually like in the spring and summertime, I have a strawberry shortcake one that I do. So fall, everybody wants caramel, so everything is caramel right now. So caramel apples are taking off, and then I have 50 flavors for my candy, so I can make them any flavor. So, and any color.
Well, they're beautiful and they taste delicious as well. So of course this year has been tough for small business owners. We've seen events being canceled. We talked about right before we came out for your interview, we talked about mini monies and people having to pivot with events especially. So what has this year been like for you with Sugar Innovations?
Most of my weddings were canceled. I have done a few mini monies. A lot of my festivals and events that I do were all canceled, and I've kind of done this pivot into baskets.
Okay.
People want to still give things to people that can't necessarily take people out to eat or, you know, celebrate like they used to. So I've taken off in the baskets right now. That's my new pivot.
Well, and it's such a creative way, and people are still trying to gather, you know, in a safely distanced way, and that's why we're like, okay, holidays are coming up. You got Thanksgiving, you got end of year with Kwanzaa, Christmas, and all the celebrations. We want to make sure people can get their Sugar Innovations ready. So what's the best way for them to find you online and make sure they place their orders, and maybe what's the timeline for people if they want to get those orders in time?
I prefer a 7-day lead time. Most of my orders actually come in on Facebook. I get a lot of social media orders. I'm in the process of redoing my website, but you definitely can reach out to me on Sugar Innovations on Facebook and Sugar Innovations on Instagram. I'm on both, and I'll send you the price list, and ordering is pretty simple. You just tell me where it needs to go and it'll be there.
Well, that sounds simple enough for me, and they look delicious. Make sure you get your orders in for Sugar Innovations. Again, you want to elevate your experience for the holidays. Thank you so much for joining us for our first Financial Biz Beat. For business news around the clock, make sure you visit CincinnatiBusinessCourier.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and be sure to sign up for our daily emails. I'm Kyla Woods. I hope you have a wonderful and safe weekend.